Lori here. I'm here to do my March TBR, and I figured out how I'm going to do my TBR for now on. Because I just got a reading card, I'll try to attach a picture in my next reading vlog, so be sure to go and watch that when it goes up. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I am going to, every 2 months, I'm going to change the books on the first row of my TBR card. My TBR card has 3 shelves. And I'm just going to change those series of books. Hopefully, I will be mostly done with them, but it just is easier than because every single time I keep adding them, I change the books I want to read. So I'm just going to do that every 2 months. Normally, right now, I read about 5 or 6 books a month. So that just seems to be what's working or what I'm going to do. I did switch them up this month, so yeah, let's get into it. These are all new books that I put on the shelf, so let's dive into it. The 2 books for the Time Warp YA Book Club that we're reading this month is The Dreadful Tale of Prospero Redding and Heir of Fire by Alexandra Bracken and Sarah J. Maas. I'm super excited for me. These are both rereads for me, so I could reread or read Queen of Shadows and the second book of the Dreadful Tales. So yeah, so this is one of the books I have to read, and also Heir of Fire, which I will definitely be getting the audiobook for. And the next book that I hope to complete in the month of March is Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith, and this is from HMH Teen. It comes out in March, and it is a fairy tale retelling of the Goose Girl. I heard Alexa Loves Books really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that I like it. It's about princess, magic, and all those fun things, so hopefully I like it equally as much. Another fairy tale retelling on my list is Sherwood by Megan Spooner, and this book also comes out in March, and this is a Robin Hood retelling, but Robin of Locksley is dead and Maid Marian doesn't know how she'll go on. So yeah, it's basically a gender-bent version of Robin Hood, which I'm super excited about. I got these 2 books at New York City Comic Con. I also got You Will Owe Me a Murder from HMH Teen, and this is also from Aline Cook. I read one book by Aline Cook with Malice, which I was not the biggest fan of, but this book sounds super interesting. It's basically about 2 girls who winds up basically agreeing that they'll commit a murder for their friend, but when things go wrong, it sets a lot of drama into path, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I really hope you guys this because it sounds really interesting, and it seems like a very, very fast-paced story. I also finally want to get to the conclusion to the Everlist series. This is Evermore. I really loved Everlist. It was one of my favorite books that I read 2 years ago because I actually read it a month before it came out. But I really hope to like this book when I get to it. So another arc that I got from New York City Comic Con was The Revenge of Magic by James Ridley. He is the author of the Story Thief series, and yeah, I really hope I like this. It's about magic returns to the railroad. Only children can unlock its dangerous powers in this thrilling new series from the author of the New York Times bestselling Story Thieves. And yeah, I normally love books like this, so hopefully I enjoy it as well. Another book that I also got from New York City Comic Con is Sal and Gabby Break the Universe, and this is the first ever Rick Riordan imprint book that I'm going to read. I normally try to read stuff in publication order, but this is coming out this month, and I would really like to read it. So yeah, I know it's like a brilliant sci-fi romp with Cuban influences that poses the question, what would you do if you had the power to reach through time and space and retrieve anything you wanted, including your mother, who is no longer living in this universe anyway. Yeah, so hopefully I enjoyed this book because it sounds like a really fun read. Another book that I got from BEA last year was The Art of Losing by Lizzie Mason. I actually met her, and this is like a very emotionally gritty, hard book. It follows this girl named Harley. When one night when her sister winds up making out with her boyfriend, that leads to a really bad situation where her boyfriend is driving drunk and winds up getting her sister into an accident that leaves her sister in a coma. So much drama, and she also fears her boyfriend is an alcoholic. So I really hope that I like this, and there's a cute boy that lives next door that is also a recovering addict, and it just sounds really interesting, and hopefully I enjoy it. Another contemporary that's on this shelf is Little Do We Know by Tamara Island Stone, and this was another like an emotional contemporary, and it follows 3 best friends, Hannah and Emery, and they have been in a really, really huge fight, but one fight when their friend Luke comes because he needs help, they kind of band together, but it's a little bit of a more emotional read, kind of like The Art of Losing. And the last couple of books, I doubt I'm going to get to all these, but these were all that fit on that cart. And they all just fell. The next one is the sequel to Arlo Finch and the Lake of the Moon. This book came out in February, so I did miss it, but this was from Macmillan. Also, the sequel to The Dreadful Tales of Prospero Redding, The Last Life of Prince Alistair, and the last two books in this video that I will talk about is The Girl King by Mimi Yu. This is a Bloomsbury pick. And yeah, I know it's about two girls. Two sisters become unwitting rivals in a war to claim the title of emperor for this richly imagined Asian-inspired fantasy for fans of Rayane, Adie, and Sabah Tahir. And the last book that is on this shelf is The Assassination of Brandwan Spurge, and this is an elf and dwarf story with such pretty illustrations. And I heard about that from Reagan's channel. Yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books in this video. I definitely won't read all 13, but I hope to make a dent in them. But this is where I'm starting. I don't even know which book I'm going to read first. I am going to choose that right after I'm done with this video. But I hope that you guys are having a great day and you guys had a great February. Let me know in the comments what are some books you want to read for the month of March, and I will talk to you guys later for another video. Hi guys, I'm sorry, this reading vlog really has been cursed. So I talked about this a little bit in my reading wrap up for the month of March, but this past week has literally been terrible commuting wise, and because of that it has really affected my reading because that's really where I read a lot of the time. But there was a really bad train accident on Long Island. If you live in New York or Long Island, you probably heard about it because it was like everywhere. But there was like a massive train derailment. 3 people were killed. It like shook like all the transportation, all the ways of getting there. I was stuck in the city until like 12 o'clock at night. I was delayed from work. It just was bad. And I just really have been so exhausted, honestly, like with the commuting and the rehearsal, the play rehearsal, and grades are due. So just a lot of little stuff. So I actually didn't get a lot of reading done, and the one day that I really could have updated was Monday, and I did update Monday, and then everything else just was like Tuesday I didn't want to update because I got home at 12 o'clock at night. Wednesday I literally slept, and tonight is the first night that I can update. So it is actually the end of the month, so which that's exciting. So yeah, I am really excited. I actually did wind up finishing Crown of Midnight, which I actually really liked. It's definitely still a 5-star read. Definitely one of my favorites in that series. Honestly, I really enjoyed my reread. But I didn't wind up finishing my audiobook, and I didn't wind up finishing the other book that I was reading just because I was kind of burnt out and I just needed to like start something new. So actually I am starting a new book tonight, and that is The Art of Losing by Lizzie Mason. I got this at BEA last summer, and it's definitely like an emotional contemporary. I actually know Lizzie Mason. She's an editor at Bloomsbury, but this is from Soho Teen. This actually came out in January, but it's definitely an emotional read. It's about a girl named Harley whose whole world turns upside down when her brother and her sister basically make out, and then her brother decides to take her sister home, and they get into a car accident because he's drunk. And it kind of starts like the whole like forgiveness phase, and her neighbor, who's also dealing with like rehab and stuff, is basically becomes her friend when she needs him most. Sounds really compelling. Sounds like an emotional read. I'm literally just about to start it, so I will give you my thoughts when I come home tomorrow. But yeah, that's my thoughts on what I hope will be my first read of March. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, hopefully for another episode.